Wait a minute. A new announcement from Blade and Sorcery. So much like all the other announcements, I'm going to break it down today in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. The Baron kicks things off saying, "Hello mates, the Baron here with another little sneak peek of 1.0, this time taking a look at environments." He then continues saying, "First, let me preempt what I know is going to be the reoccurring comment for the folks reading this news." And he shows a meme of a guy saying, "Give me that." He says, "Your pain has been acknowledged and we are absolutely dying to release this more than anyone, believe me. At the moment, we are still worryingly still wrapping up on critical components of Crystal Hunt. This is not bugs or polish, this is more of an actual main mechanism of Crystal Hunt that prevents the game from being played from start to finish. After these missing components get done, we will finally be able to switch to bug fix mode and the game should be in a quote-unquote playable, albeit buggy state. So hopefully at this point we can get an idea of how bad the QA period is going to be." So that's what's going on the development side. I would say it is best not to get caught up in a release date and let it happen when it happens. The update is freaking huge and it's like a new game getting dropped on top of what you already know so well. So patience is a virtue right now. And like all the kids say now, let us cook. And then he has the Swedish chef. Fantastic. Now here's the news to break down. He says, "I wanted to throw a spotlight on environments in this news because it is going to be such a huge part of the 1.0 content. The environment team has been mostly focused on a couple of major tasks on the road to 1.0, namely adding an entirely new dungeon biome, improving the current sandbox maps to make them lore friendly, including the brand new ruins map we have, and improving and optimizing graphics when possible." Then he says, "Let's get into the new dungeon first, as the majority of the components of the lore of the aspect of Crystal Hunt is this progression mode." And take a look at this screenshot. Oh my goodness, with the hanging like vines and everything, that looks really cool, especially for all you climbers and explorers out there. It looks like you can go down here, you can go up there, maybe there's a whole nother zone over there. And it looks like it's broken up here. So it does lead me to some exploration questions. If you guys are familiar with the current dungeon layout, there's some invisible boundaries that you can't get past. So I wonder how they're going to handle invisible boundaries in this new dungeon. I'm sure it's probably going to be there, but just expect when you climb all the way in that top left corner that you're going to hit an invisible wall at some point. But it looks awesome. I also wonder if these little vines and leaves are going to be just an alpha texture like the flags, or will you be able to grab onto them? That'd be kind of cool. Baron says this is going to be a really fine balancing act because we want to show off lots of cool stuff, but we are also dying to keep as much as we can a surprise. And then he says that way you can experience it for the first time in VR. Oh, Baron, are you trying to allude again back to traps? Don't do this to me. You're saying the first time you can experience this in VR? Come on. Last time you said that it's like they don't want to do traps because it'll be cool the first time you see it, but then it won't be cool the second time, third, and so on. But okay, no. That's just a red herring. It's not going to be traps. I don't want to get my hopes up. Look at this next zone in the shot right here. This cave, like, this is awesome, man. You know when you're playing Skyrim and you go into like the dwarf section and everything kind of looks all like, you know, like the dwarves made it? Like this one looks like dwarves lived here at some point, but it's not like mechanical or anything like that, which I appreciate. This looks awesome, and I love the open layout of the lighting as well. It's not just like, oh, you're in a dark, spooky cave. Like this is a cave that has lets out. Oh, this is so awesome. Looks like they also throw in some lore right here about the Delgarians. He says who they are and what they're all about. This will be a major hinge in the player's motivation while playing Crystal Hunt. As you explore the ancient Dalgarian ruins and gather lore to piece together a big picture of the world, events, and the surrounding Crystal Hunt. And just to set expectations again, there's really not going to be a story here per se. Baron is saying once again it's a self-motivated old school type of player who enjoys digging up pieces and putting things together. So you're finding like bits and pieces of lore, and that's what's going to craft the overall story. You're not going to have a narrator or a character speaking about like, oh, so one time when magic was illegal. That's not necessarily going to happen. You're going to find things maybe etched into stone, or maybe a book or a piece of equipment that has something world building built into it. He's also stating it's okay if you're also not that type of player who wants to piece things together. You will still massively enjoy the Crystal Hunt progression mode at face value without reading a single piece of lore. You might just enjoy the aspect of unlocking new skills, exploring ruins, fighting, etc. It still gives you something to do and work towards because it's a progressive mode where you're earning skills and all that fun stuff. And we have another cool screenshot. It looks like from the other angle here. Player comes from that little dark spooky cave into this little open zone. He says, when creating the Dalgarian dungeon biome, the environment and design team wanted to try something quite new for Blade and Sorcery and move away from the familiar medieval style, which is mostly based on real-world references. And if you haven't realized, Western Europe served as a huge inspiration for the Iridian in the architecture and design. And if you guys didn't know, the Iridian is the normal faction that we've been playing up against when you go to the standard dungeon. So think medieval France, Celtic Ireland, things like that. He says the task was challenging for the team because they had to imagine an entirely new environment from scratch without relying too much on real-world references. The team didn't want it to feel too familiar that you might associate with a real place in the world. He also says there was indeed a lot of testing, tweaking, and refining this process before the guys hit something that they felt good. And look at this screenshot we have. I can only imagine the depth of scale we're gonna get in here if you're walking on the ruined floor below and look up. Oh man, when you hit that for the first time, that is probably gonna feel absolutely massive. I am so excited. Just look at that. It almost looks like this shot's in like 2-point perspective too. It looks so fun. He says the goal was to create locations that instill feelings of discovery and exploration, and I'm definitely getting that from this picture alone. So that's so cool. He says, so that entering a new room will be surprising, intriguing, and impressive by a scale, something very awesome in VR. Then he says, in contrast, there was a desire to stay away from the old tropes like classic RPG dark ruins or crypts or that type of dungeon, which I appreciate. I don't really like when things are too dark. Like it's cool bringing like a torch with you, but if it's too dark, especially in VR, you lose some of that luster. But they still wanted to retain the feeling of a danger and slightly spooky from liminal spaces. And good on them for identifying what liminal spaces can also be. It doesn't have to just be like darkness and jump scares and like you think like Poppy's playtime is gonna kill you at any second with Fuzzy Wuzzy, but it could just be, you know, lost to time, which is really cool. Even calling out saying an ancient civilization that has been undisturbed up until now. So oh man, I'm so excited. In my head canon, I'm getting so excited. We have another screenshot, looks like of maybe this was like a little bit of Lord of the Rings inspired, to be honest. When they're in the cave in the Fellowship, you know, and the Balrog comes out and they get to Balin's tomb. That's what this one reminds me of. He also says an environment was also made to incorporate environmental storytelling. While not overt lore exposition, the idea is that the rooms themselves could be open to interpretation for the players to infer what kind of ancient civilization was here. For that reason, when it came to the rune conception process, this would involve the key question: what is this room's purpose? The team wanted an archaeological remnants of the Dalgarian to be logical and lore-fitting. They also opted for quality over quantity in this process, though we ended up with a ton of rooms anyway, which I'm happy for. And just look at this almost like Colosseum looking one. So this one, what does this remind me of? It's a mix of obviously some democracy happened here. Maybe it was like a meeting room, or this could have even been for a play. However, it looks unlikely because down here at the bottom, the circle looks like where everything would be important. Actually, no, it could have been a playroom because they even have like a stage exit point right here. Or I could just be crazy. This could just be where they're having their government meetings. And then up here in this corner behind this pillar is an assassin. Then you jump down and take down one of the assassin person people. I don't know. He also says there are also miscellaneous and cosmetic changes coming to some of the sandbox maps. With the new lore of Blade and Sorcery being added in Crystal Hunt, we were out to make the world of Byath feel more coherent as a fantasy world. For this reason, we wanted to revisit the sandbox maps and pull them into the lore to make them feel part of the world as opposed to feeling like a random disjointed map. The most noticeable of this effort is going to be the appearance of the Orin in the sky. So this looks like a revamped citadel once again, and you can see that planet all the way in the distance. I don't know, that's supposed to be their moon. It's a close moon, but another planet. That's really cool. So if you are in the character selection screen, you know, off in the distance, you can see planets and you can see in space, there's like an explosion. That's really cool. I really wonder how that's going to matter though. Oh look, Baron answered my question. He says, did you know that Byath was a moon? There we go. He also says, we are always pushing PC VR to its limits to make the best looking VR game we can. To go with this, some maps have had improvements in textures, dressing, and lighting, while still trying to keep everything performance friendly. canyon got a cosmetic makeover and looks absolutely gorgeous. You updated the canyon again? That is really cool. Now, the real question is, did you leave the toilet in here? But I digress. Yeah, this does look really cool. You can see the moon in the corner again. That's awesome. Oh my God, and wait a minute. The AER Star makes an appearance too. If you are in the arena, there's a star right there. Oh, and he says, and who knows, maybe we'll have a part to play in the crystal hunt. And he did a Ninja Turtle Donatello winking face. So now I'm picturing this thing can shoot down crystal shards or like a laser or something. Oh, Baron, why do you do this? Why do you troll us like this? And that's it. That's where he leaves. He says, that's it for the news, folks. Hope to see you guys and gals are excited. Well, my friends, that is it for the breakdown of the news that the Baron gave us about environments for Crystal Hunt. I'm sure a bunch of questions are going to pop up in the comment section down below, so maybe Baron will stop by and answer a few of them. What I didn't see being called out here was Nomad at all. However, they've been always saying that Nomad is trying to keep parity with the PC version. However, if we take a look at one of the screenshots, you'll notice the Citadel is being retweaked and whatnot. Just a special call out from my last interview with Baron. Unless things have changed, and I just doubt they have, the Citadel will be not making an appearance on Nomad, so don't expect to have this awesome looking map, unfortunately, come to Nomad. But all these other Crystal Hunt stuff, like these pictures that we took a look at a little bit earlier in the video, of course those will be in Nomad because that's the new update coming. I am interested for things to come, especially in this comment here, how they say that they're pushing PC VR to its limits to make the best looking game we can. And just to throw a little bit of my opinion out there, rolling back to some of the old versions like U8 and especially U9, the characters themselves were higher quality and higher fidelity. So I wonder if we're going to get those style characters back. And in my opinion, once Nomad did pop up, although it's great to experience Blade and Sorcery on the go, or if you don't have a powerful PC, it does feel like it has taken some effort away from its PC VR brother, especially in the realms of visual fidelity. However, looking at these new maps and reworked maps, it's clear it's going to look absolutely fantastic. I do just hope that we can get those other NPCs from the U9, that quality can come back, but that's just my opinion. And finally, I also do hope for more animations from the NPCs. I want to see them use two-handed weapons, maybe a left-handed fighter here and there, be able to use a spear, and different styles when they're using a sword. Anyway, my friends, this has been the breakdown of the Crystal Hunt Environments preview. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and if you are new to downloadable content, why not consider subscribing? It is free. Click the big subscribe button down below and join up. I will greatly appreciate it. But other than that, I'm Drifter from Downloadable Content, and I will see you, Patrick, next time.